This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission success.
Are you able to press the record button there, John?
I have done that.
You have done that.
It already was done.
That's a good thing because sometimes the frost, it makes the record button stick.
The best line ever.
From? That's
this movie. What the fuck are you talking about?
That was
Sometimes
the frost.
it makes the blade
frost.
stick.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
One of the best lines ever.
Okay.
I don't know how
Sorry.
it's like almost not important, but somehow the way he says it, you're like,
it's
yeah.
completely irrelevant. And in the way he does it, you're just like, fucking kill him. Kill him.
Slice his
it
head
is
off.
awesome.
Do it.
I love it.
So TC has been talking about this movie for years.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, so we're watching Gladiator, year 2000. Ridley Scott directed it. It's got Russel Crow in there. This movie won Best Picture. It was the second highest grossing movie of the 2000s behind Mission Impossible #2. But
wow.
Gladiator, yeah. TC.
Yeah.
Better
It's
than
your turn.
Good Will Hunting?
You know, it's funny.
Is it better than Good Will Hunting? That's a good question, John.
I think for TC it is,
Yeah.
right?
You know, luckily for Good Will Hunting, it's such a different kind of movie that it doesn't really matter, right?
Like they're both
this
at the
is
top
just
of their
a
own
bloodlust, story of the Romans, and it's even a dumb story at that. So it was 2000, right? Is that when it came out?
Yeah.
And that would have meant I was a sophomore in high school. So
Well, that's, yeah.
I realized when I was watching it back last night, okay, I'm like, all right, my memory's a little tainted. I forgot that there was like that weird strobe cam that they were testing
the
out.
Rockstar cam.
Yeah. I mean, it reminded me of the time, right? So it was just like, oh, right, this is dated now, right? Because in my head, I have been watching that movie so many times and I've been watching it for so many years that I have like, really this entire memory of being a young adult watching this movie, right? So what happened now is I'm an old adult. So essentially that my memory is going already and I didn't really understand kind of how not lame, but I guess, I don't know. The writing it was very straightforward. It was just very, like we're going to hit this I love how it opens. It opens with that bloody scene with like a million extras. They're screaming in tongue in the middle of the woods. I mean, you can't make that shit up.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I mean,
that
but
was
someone,
like Saving Private Ryan moment. Like Scott talks about that,
Where
like,
the production values through the roof. The amount of extras they had to get must have been insane. The clothing, all the props and all the stuff. Right? They're shooting fucking rocks at the forest and shit, and it's on fire. I mean, like, it's fucking crazy, right? That's your opening scene.
Rocks on fire, man.
Yeah, I mean, you watch that thing hit the trees, and you're like, oh, it's gonna kick
Were
off.
those rocks? I thought they were big pots of oil or something.
They're like pots of something, right? Whatever they are. I mean, it looked like rocks.
It was like this forest that they were going to burn down anyway.
Yeah, right. So whatever it was on fire. And I forgot though, like, once you get past that opening scene, you start going into like, normal drama stuff, right? And you kind of, it started to date itself quickly. Just like, I don't know why, it just did. And I think it's mainly because I maybe haven't seen it in so long and I used to watch it so many times. Right.
I think
I used to see it. I used to see it a lot because I used to watch it too many times, but then 20 years went by.
Okay. So you used to watch it a lot, but that makes sense too, that certainly you're older now too and see things differently.
Yeah, right. So I didn't, nothing changed. I just fucking loved this. I love this movie again. It is talk about one of the most badass movies there is out there. I'm sorry, those Gladiator scenes, I was just blown away by again. The absolute. It's just such quick editing. They off people's heads all the time. Fuck that. It's crazy shit, right? So,
and Russell Crowe is a good badass.
He really is.
A good
he
badass.
Really is. And he makes those faces where he's like, "I'm literally gonna kill you right now," and you're like, "I believe you." Chill. And he just delivers his lines so perfectly for the character, I think.
Yep.
And obviously, I had discussed last time. I love the Hans Zimmer backing score / fight scene ridiculousness and. So, yeah, I mean, overall, again, I still like the movie. I thought it was a little bit dated, but it didn't hold up as well as I'd like it to, but it was still great. It's pretty impressive production stuff. If you're looking to see how it's really expensive. If you want to see how money's well spent, watch this movie for sure, because they really did it up. And I don't think, from remembering, if it was so expensive through the roof that we're thinking of some of the blockbusters now. So
it looks better than the blockbusters now. It does.
Okay. Enough said.
And I think, so this is, John, I'm going second because I haven't seen this movie before.
Okay.
I've never seen this movie before.
I can't believe that.
I've seen it. I'm like,
wow, yeah. I'm surprised.
I actually looked at
Let's all just dwell in our shock for a moment.
Yes.
I know. Let's give it a beat. Let's give that a beat. How have you not seen this?
I know. So I don't know. I was thinking about it. I was also a sophomore in high school, and I would imagine that I know my brother watched it and liked this movie a lot, but I think I must have, like, the day they rented it from the video store, which was still a thing back then, I must have had plans or something. Because, like,
you just missed your window.
I missed the window because it used to cost money. You know, we didn't have money, and I couldn't be like, I want to watch it again. You're like, no, you missed your chance.
And they're like, we're not renting it again. You missed it last Thursday.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like, just because you're a cool high school kid now who has plans on the weekend outside of your family doesn't mean we can rent the same VHS tape twice.
Right.
It was this cool Canadian band. I got their album cover signed. Dude, don't care, Danny.
Yeah.
And then in college, I had no money again, so that nothing to play DVDs on. And then I just never got around to watching it because, honestly, it looks like Braveheart. And that's not a movie I'm going to, like,
that's true.
Look
that's
out.
Fair point.
You know,
yep,
that's true. And it's about a time period in the Romans, and it's weird, you know, like there's some weird story stuff there, like the sister-brother thing.
I'm surprised you didn't get back to it sooner.
Me too.
Ridley Scott he's not a perfect director, right? He's made some of my favorite movies, but he's not like he's a flawless director. And this movie
he was
got Best Picture, which always, you know, I don't trust that. You know, it's like if everyone liked it, then there's got to be something wrong with it. You know?
I fall victim to that too.
Was following a series of films that not everybody liked. So, I mean,
Titanic won Best Picture not 3 years before. And that movie was also high grossing, big budget, loved by all. Terrible fucking movie.
Point.
I hate that movie. So I kind of I grouped it in with that. I was like, this is going to be overblown.
What a massive mistake.
I know.
Was.
So getting to that point.
Man.
All I could think when watching, so first of all, 100% agreed on the fight scenes. I figured that, like, I had seen clips because they show clips of the fight scenes and other shit. I don't know where, but, like, I've seen the tigers. I've seen some of the chariot stuff. But watching the scenes front to back was just amazing. Like, I gasped at the screen, especially during the chariot fight scene. There's a 10-second period of time where, like, one of the chariots gets away and the blade in the side cuts this woman in half, and then the chariot fucking hits a thing and then flips over. And I was just like, what the
Holy
fuck?
Shit. Yeah, right. And if you had the speakers up loud, it was heavy.
Oh,
man.
It was loud. We cranked it so loud.
Yeah. And wasn't it awesome though? Like, because I was like holding my seat too. So I was literally holding my seat again, like grasping it.
When you're talking about the first scene, I did not like the first scene at all. That was way too Braveheart. That didn't draw me in. The editing was...
It was a hook for like the masses, right?
I
like draw them in with fights.
It took me like 40 minutes to get into this movie.
It's almost like a callback to the internal part of the movie when, you know, they've got someone that's like, you know, hooking the mob, right? That's what they were doing to us as the audience. Was they were like, give them blood and they will love you.
I honestly thought the editing was like Braveheart, where it was just like gore shot. It's like, who's that? You don't know. We're just showing blood, you know? And I'm like, all right,
I did love that.
Special effects are
the
cool,
look,
but
the look he gave him though when he turned around, he was going to kill his own man, and he smirked.
I thought that was too cheesy.
Money.
No, I didn't like that. No, I
loved it.
I just wasn't on board yet. I guess maybe. But I didn't like that either. I thought that shot was really distracting. I thought it was like the slow-mo and just his stupid thing. I'm like, this is Hollywood bullshit right here. I don't like this.
And I really disliked the stutter. So
the stutter?
The low shutter speed. Yeah, the stuttering. Yeah.
You're talking about jumped frames, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's like a little shitty digital effect from the 2000s.
So it was done. It was actually a film thing that was necessary because they filmed all of that scene in one day. They filmed it all in one day, and they wanted the light to be good, so they waited for the evening time. But they filmed it in series. By the end, the sun went down, so they had to
open everything up.
They had to open the shutter speed and like lengthen the shutter speed just to pick things up. So to be able to do that and to keep the motion at the same, they had to like duplicate frames.
Hell of a issue there.
Yeah. And I agree. It didn't look great, but
didn't look good. And
they had only those amount of extras for that scene. Like, and everything was burning, like John said.
Well,
earlier.
You know what it is too? They weren't thinking ahead where everyone's going to be like, oh, well, if you look back, no one's going to think, oh, well, it was getting dark. They would have been like, what the fuck is this? Right?
Yeah.
They're not going to like look into that. Right. And since it's an old movie now, like no one would think twice. They would see it and be like, why did they do that? Right.
Yeah. Plus, like, it's time is passing in the scene, so it could have gotten dark.
Yeah, that'd been fair. Like,
Right.
I guess they just like couldn't pick it up though. It was
celebrate
was
around a
issue.
fire.
Or they just didn't have lights to light it all. That too.
They didn't
Right.
because they planned that lighting was natural because they found a forest, like John said quickly, they found a forest that was going to be demolished, and they got permission from this country or state or whoever owned the forest to burn it down during the shoot.
Got it. I figured something like that. I mean, I vaguely remember this stuff from some sort of backing thing I watched, that behind the scenes thing.
That was the same as the third Star Wars movie. They did the same thing for Endor. They found a forest that was going to be demolished and then destroyed it. So that's a good Hollywood trick.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. What the hell, right?
But I wrote down, so I know that Hans Zimmer did The Lion King. And there's some music in here that I'm like, this is The Lion King. Like, this is just totally ripped off from The Lion King. And then there was one action scene where I was like, this is The Rock with Nicolas Cage. And I was like, there's no way that's Hans Zimmer. I looked it up. Hans Zimmer did that one too.
Oh, yeah.
So he's just like pulling, Yeah. So he's pulling from like
he has a
stuff.
style.
He has a style.
Off. Yeah,
that's true.
And I'm sure he created templates and shit to move faster and all
Probably.
that. So yeah.
And I thought for a score, I noticed that like the score is pretty damn constant, except for maybe like the Gladiator battle scenes, but it's always there. And that
it's always there.
Usually sucks, but I
it
didn't mind
suck.
it. And sometimes it was really good.
Yeah.
I think
agree.
when you paired
Normally
it with like the weird, the scenery, it like went well.
Yeah.
So like it was like this fanfare kind of like upbeat sometimes, and then it was sad when they were and it like matched what we were seeing visually too. So it seemed okay. I thought they did a good job with the score.
Yeah.
I listen. You know what's funny is I listen to it while I work a lot.
So that the last song, a lot of it reminded me of his other stuff. Apparently, while I was listening to it, but that last song when he's like dead and it's all sad and there's like a vocal track in it, and
then she comes in and it builds, and then it builds.
That was really good. I thought.
Oh yeah, that's Lisa Gerhardt.
Yeah, I was like, I don't give a shit about this guy. Like, I don't give a shit about any of these characters. But like, for some reason, this song is putting more emotion in this scene than it deserves.
The dialogue from the woman there is just miserable. She's just bad.
I honestly didn't mind any of the acting. I thought this was like...
I thought she was awful. Every time I watched it.
This is what Game of Thrones should have been in my mind.
It's what they took from.
Right.
When I was watching, I'm like, I'm seeing Game of Thrones all over this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And this is better than... Like, Game of Thrones I never got into. It was like too many characters and too slow. A lot of people did, and that's fine. But like, this one is more for people like me who don't like that kind of thing.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's quick.
You move right
through. The characters are like simple enough to be on screen for like 3 scenes. But there's enough there to like feel like they're real people. Like, it's not super shallow to the point where like this is a bad movie. It seems like there's something there. There's like actual relationships. They act a lot in this movie. Everyone's given it 110% for sure. And it doesn't really go into bad territory, which is really weird because there's some fucking weird shit that happens in this movie.
When you know the movie too well, it does.
Oh, okay. Yeah. For the first time watch, I was...
Yeah, first time watch, you'd never pick up. But I was picking up all sorts of stupid shit because I knew the story so well. Like, I don't even have to watch it anymore. I knew exactly what was going to happen next. And you start nitpicking shit. And you know what I mean? You don't need
living,
to.
Apparently. Like,
from Crow, yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
In general.
Yeah, Crow and Scott. But Crow likes to pat himself on the back for a lot of the rewrites. He apparently made fun of the screenwriter who was on set a lot. The screenwriter was there, and Crow would be like, dude, this line sucks, or whatever he would say.
But that's part of it.
I mean, the line where he says, like, the one they mentioned in the commentary was like, I will get my vengeance in this life or the next.
In this life or the next.
They apparently argued about that on set. He's like, dude, this is garbage. This is absolutely garbage. And then they couldn't come up with anything better, obviously, because writing is super fucking hard. So they went with it. But Crow on set was like, this is garbage, but I'm so good that I'll make it work, is what he said.
Yeah, that's what it said in Wikipedia.
I'm sure that's what he said.
I'm the world's greatest actor. I'll make this work.
I'll make this work.
So
it still sucks, you fucking loser.
He came off like an ass. Ridley Scott came off like an ass on the commentary track.
Oh, really?
Did he?
Yep.
Aw.
The first,
that's too bad.
Well, one of the first things he said was, and this is a question I have for the beginning of your part of the review there, John, is about the historical accuracy. He said that there are books written about what happened, a ton of books, but the people that tell you what happened back then only read the books, so they weren't there. So what does it matter? So you can just make up whatever you want because everyone living now wasn't there then.
I mean,
That's true.
well,
It's not true. That's stupid. That's the reason people write things down.
He's not entirely wrong.
Totally wrong.
There is
he
historical
probably is.
accuracy. That's all. And there's a lot of things that weren't historical accurate about this. And so what? It's fine. He's not trying to go after complete authenticity anyway.
So you're okay with this, but you weren't okay
You got
with
to
Mel
beef up the
Gibson.
drama, right?
Well, Mel Gibson, they start that film trying to pretend like this is historically accurate.
So does this
Gladiator
one.
makes
So does this
no
one.
Gladiator makes no mention. No,
Yeah,
no
no, it does
pretense
at the beginning
necessarily.
in the
The text.
superimposed over the
They
text.
talk
yeah.
about it, but they don't talk about these actual people as being
No,
the people
I guess
that
they just
are.
talk
Like,
about the time, right?
Right,
Like,
they
this
talk
was
about the time
when
they're
this
not,
happened.
They're not talking
yeah.
about this particular
Good point.
person as a hero and what he did for his country or something.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of historical inaccuracy in it. in
You
terms
just
of
like
the-
it better than Braveheart's all it is, and you're coming up with
How
excuses.
could you not like this better
Yeah.
than Braveheart? I mean, come on.
But I mean, Braveheart does all these other things where they're like, oh, well, people will tell you that this film isn't accurate, but that's just because they were the victors or whatever. The bullshit of
It's just
padding
it
things
gaslights
right
you
up
from the
front.
beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
not
it's
good.
got, the references, oh, it's the Christians versus the pagans when they weren't pagans, but whatever. It's like, oh, those damn homosexuals are so annoying, aren't they? But we had to put up with them sometimes. I mean, all this shit.
Anger
that
is a
film
good
just
memory
does in
tool
it.
for John, I think.
Yeah,
Anger
yeah. So-
wakes John
yeah.
right the
A little
fuck up,
bit, yeah.
right? I mean, he just woke right up there. Oh, I'm back, guys. How you doing?
Braveheart.
How are we talking about Braveheart
Oh, is
again?
it
God damn
Braveheart?
it.
I thought we were doing Gladiator, but fuck
right.
that movie.
Anyway, so you just asked me why there's a difference
Yeah.
there.
No, I think
there's
that's a
big
legit.
difference.
I think what you're saying is legit.
I don't see
Yeah,
this. This one
I
doesn't
see his
pretend
point.
as much, and
I see your point.
It's so outlandish in some ways that this is a Hollywood epic movie. I would like us to see. I don't know if we're jumping right into our horror films, but it might be kind of fun to jump right into Spartacus after this for fun. I don't know if we have time to do that, but anyway, it's a thought.
That is a good thought. So Nope. Just speaking of that really quickly, Nope doesn't come out on physical media until October 25th.
Oh, I thought you were telling me that I couldn't.
I thought he was too for a second,
sorry.
and
No,
then it
that's a good
clicked.
thought.
Yeah.
As
Nope.
your
So,
commander,
by
I
the
say
way, nope. Your fucking idea
Oh,
sucks.
God.
and we're not doing
I'm
that.
that big of an asshole where you just assumed that I was just going to do it
No,
like that.
not that big of an asshole. So I was just a little puzzled.
Yeah,
I
damn,
know,
that was
I
quick.
know,
He
I'm
really
like-
shot that down. It
I'm like an
wasn't even
80%
like a little bit.
asshole, but that's like 100% asshole right there.
No
Wow,
kidding,
I didn't
know.
think it- yeah.
That's more asshole than I expected. I wasn't prepared for that much asshole.
Like, damn, could you even give it a second? I mean, fine.
Let me think.
That's a good thought. Nope.
Anyway, we can do
good
late
stuff.
Halloween this year because Nope doesn't come out until the 25th.
Oh, okay.
So I want to, if
Okay.
there's a commentary track, which there hopefully, please, Jordan Peele, if
Yeah.
you're listening, to do
Oh,
a
that would be
commentary
awesome. That
track
would be great,
on
yeah.
discs that are already in
Yeah.
production, please. Okay.
Give it right up for you there, Denny.
Yeah.
Hold the press. We need
Yeah,
to
right.
do a couple more
We
of
get
it.
right
Yeah,
on that.
that's right. I'll pay
Yeah.
extra. Anyway, John, keep going. So actually, first, so that's that. I guess that was the
you
first
just asked
question.
me that question.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You got to keep going with yours. You're doing your review here. Thought. Or are you done?
Let's see. What else do I have? What else is there? I mean, yeah, the drama, like I said, was way better than like any period piece drama I've seen. I didn't necessarily care for the characters, but I thought the acting was really good and the story was like clearly told and it moved the plot along in a way that didn't seem forced.
The
it
actors were
seemed
being
kind of
like who
natural.
they were too, like them or not. I mean, like Russell Crowe he comes off as a general. He comes off as somebody who commands.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
does that well.
And the other one comes off like a little wimp, and it
Joaquin
fits perfect.
Pheonix.
Yeah.
That was what I'd forgotten how good he was. I was knocked out by him. He as being a villain, he was, I thought, astonishingly
Some
good.
of their best moments were when they were looking at each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, it was like they could both. It was like they were trying to outdo each other with
I know,
the looks, right? Like, and they were both winning every time.
Yes. No. As far as being a bad guy, being like a tortured bad guy, and not just not he's just not evil. He's like all messed up.
Yeah, he's fucked
he's
up.
alone and he's
He
tortured.
wants to have sex with his sister.
And well, it's because it's the only woman he knows. It's his only friend.
Where is he coming from? That's what
in his
I,
mind.
because like that's the impression I got too. But she doesn't have these issues. She was dating other people. Like, where were they coming from? Why is he so isolated?
Well, so he's also
Because he's based on a real
good
person.
His dad,
Yes.
his dad hint. Well, yes, but that he isn't as bad as all that anyway. But his dad hints that he just isn't a good person. He's just not. He just isn't moral.
He's not a
just
moral
not-
man.
He's not like compassionate. He just doesn't care about other people, and that's just something that's in him. But he's got awareness of it, and it kills him. It tortures him. He knows his father doesn't love him because he knows he's a monster. He knows he doesn't fit, and yet he's still lonely, and he's still like wanting to like have people love him or have some kind of success. So to me, I think he plays this really kind of complex, real fucked up person. And he seems so tortured while being evil. He just does it amazingly well. Like he's not just like madly cackling and being evil. He's like really like unhappy, and that comes off. And I think it's really impressive. I don't think there's many good bad guys like that because he really comes off as really fucked up. Evil, will do whatever it takes. Doesn't care who he hurts, but also he's tortured. And I don't know. I just think it's amazing.
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing now. Joker 2 coming out 2023.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, boy.
I guess he was like 25 and nervous.
I mean, how could you not be? You're against the greatest.
Right.
Self-proclaimed, too, on set. Right. Can you imagine?
So he
also got made fun of from Ridley because he was like gaining weight on set. So Ridley was like, really told one of the production assistants that he needed to tell Joaquin to like lose weight in a nice way,
not eat.
And what the guy said to Joaquin was like, Ridley thinks you're getting fat. So he went on, he like stopped eating for like 3 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Afterwards. So
right. So God, poor guy. Maybe he was like,
he was really fucked up. Yeah.
But then he tried to explain it that he thought that like a guy like that would be fat.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they do,
Well, yeah, he's indulgent. Like, he might as well get all puffy.
You work your life around the stories. That makes you more of an actor.
Ridley was saying, Joaquin thought it was a part of the character, but Ridley was like, doesn't look good on camera.
Yeah, but he's like, we're making a Hollywood epic here. You don't have fat guy. Look at Apocalypse Now, buddy.
True.
Hey, that movie made a lot of money too.
It did make a lot of money.
But it didn't win Best Picture. Nomination, but no win. You got to be a skinny bad guy to win the Best Picture. Well,
that's because it was like Vietnam, man.
Yeah, Gladiator times.
What
else is there to talk about, though? The acting I talked about.
That's
the drama
what I'm saying.
is
The
good.
story
the
isn't
action,
like the story's not that impressive though. If you think about it, right? It's not bad. I'm just saying it's not. I've watched it too many times.
Yeah, well, I also remembered why I didn't really want to watch it again because there's just there's so much suffering towards the end. I don't like watching it. I mean, even though I know it's sort of. I think what Denny says, you still sort of care, even though you don't necessarily care about the characters. It's just kind of done well enough that like I get like he gets stabbed in the back, and I love
the crew, the guys that are all gladiators.
He has to sit there and go out there and like I don't know. It's really painful to watch in a way. And so
can I correct what I said about not caring? I really wanted Jaoquin Pheonix to die.
Oh yeah.
Towards the end, I didn't know what happened at the end, and I was like, if they just they're killing all of the good guys.
Right,
they capture Russell Crow. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, is he going to live and Russell Crowe and everyone else is going to die? And I was like so anxious. I was like,
no, but wasn't that such a good payoff? Wasn't that such a good payoff? When he died, I was like, thank God. He pushes the knife into his fucking throat.
I was like, I don't even care that Russell Crowe died. Joaquin Pheonix is dead. That I'm happy. I'm good.
I know he had to die. He had to die. He had to give something up, right? That's what they say, right? He had to lose something. You can't win and then not lose something. There has to be a consequence.
So I did feel a little bit my hatred towards Joaquin's character, and not in a bad way.
I was so glad to see him go. So glad to see him
go. What a great job he did.
Yeah.
He made himself so despicable.
And it wasn't painful to watch him. Sometimes you have the bad guy that's so bad that it's like you don't like watching him or he's gross or whatever, but like
that's true.
He
was very like
really good to watch. As messed up as he was still like he was still
because the most he got out of oh shit was when he was killing his father. Right after that, he was very monotone.
Yeah,
very not much
until he was screaming in his sister's face.
Yeah, right, true. And again, done well. Yeah, really done well.
Yeah.
I mean,
apparently that was improv, and it scared the other actors. So her reaction was real.
Like real.
He screamed in her face.
Yeah.
What does he say? Like, am I not appreciated? It's kind of the same thing as the.
Are you not entertained? Right.
Yeah. What is he?
Are you not entertained? Come on. You can't fuck with that line.
It's tough because this is the first time I watched, but that's so popular now. I'm like, that just kind of like takes you out a little bit. You're like,
okay. But it doesn't because at the end of the day,
it's like a Star Wars quote.
It's fucking fine because it was a good ass movie. It'd be one thing if the movie sucked, but
yeah.
One of the best. I mean, really, the movie kicks into gear when he wakes up and his wound is all
Oh my
filled
God.
in.
That was gross.
Yeah, it's all filled in with maggots and shit. And then they get him up and he wakes up and like he's already got a friend. You know what I mean? Like, because it was awesome.
We got the buddy movie going with Juba. Those
really were my
good
favorite
too.
parts of the story was when it like just started going into. Once it started getting into with the sister, that's when I lost myself a little bit. Only because I thought she was, I started nitpicking her.
I didn't think she was too bad.
I think she was
just pretty nervous.
No, but she's probably the least talented out of the three main characters, right? So,
well, I think compared to Crow and Joaquin,
compared to Crow and Joaquin, she's not really in the same.
Maybe with repeated watching, it sticks out. I don't know, but
that's exactly what it is. I think
maybe, yeah. But
you have to realize that I have watched this thing. What did the guy say? Thousands of times.
Thousands of times.
Right.
Said,
and you didn't even make it.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And he made it.
So
I think that's better for you.
I still don't understand it.
And I still don't understand it. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of other things to mention. I really like there's a couple scenes where they do like kind of dream sequences when he gets like almost killed. It does like a bunch of weird fast motion shots and him like floating over the dirt and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
That was kind of a nice little like refreshing change of pace that, it was weird, but it fit somehow. And the same thing happened when he was dying at the end, and it had like the weird like door opening to his house and stuff.
Because he's going,
he's going into Elysium.
It sort of wraps up because that's how the film starts with him.
Bookend,
it's nice. It was sort of a nice book in there.
Yeah,
liked all that stuff.
Yeah. I did too. It was like, dude, how good was it when it was like they cut it together just right where he was pushing the door open, right when he was dying, right? It just. Because like his arm went in one and then it completed perfectly in the next shot.
It was beautifully done. Like,
I was like, damn, that was sick.
And embraces his kid. It was really well done.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
And the thing is too, like as someone who watches and reads a lot of movie news and where people's opinions on movies are going, this movie has like his wife doesn't have a speaking line. Like she runs at him, right? She's waiting for him. So in terms of like female characters in movies, this is a pretty terrible one. Even knowing, we
haven't even had Twin Towers yet.
I still think it's pretty effective, because like she's never actually introduced in the movie, right? It's all like in his head because he never sees her from when the movie begins to when the movie ends.
He expresses his love and concern for his family throughout the film, and such a way, I think, too, that it's sort of, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it was believable, too. He was out there and, he made it, his facial expressions were believable when he was talking about the family in the first part.
And just like, I think the thing that really convinced me in the movie is like, when he asks him what he wants, when he's like done with battle, he just asks to go home.
He wants to go to the farm.
And he kind
of it was so simple. The dialogue there was great. It was simple. Yeah,
and it was character defining. Like that carried me with his character throughout the movie, that like 5 seconds right there.
And it was awesome because fucking, the weasel there, like opened the door and let him walk right into his own bullshit, right? Because he's just like, oh yeah, sure, yeah, you're gonna have to like, maybe stay behind because I'm about to make you the emperor. What are you gonna do with a guy that all he does his whole life is like withstand what he's been telling people he's gonna do? I'm doing this and I do it, right? Like, fuck. I when he walked right into it, I was just like, you dumbass military dude, right? Like that's what his character is at the moment, an idiot. Because he's going to have his own morals that like make him go forward, right? He doesn't have any fucking leg to stand on. So I thought that was funny, really.
What's the last line? That's the last question I think I have in my portion before we get to John. What is that? Not yet. Not yet.
Oh, that means that he's not dying too yet. Like he's not seeing them yet. And he won't see them until he's dead.
Isn't that obvious? Why is that the last line in the movie?
Because it's like a joke, I think, because they must have been talking. I have a feeling it was something that was cut out of the movie.
Really?
Like they had some sort of like where they talked and they had a conversation and then what's his name? Russel Crowe said something like, not yet, not yet. They laughed, right? Then later on it comes back. But I didn't remember.
That would make more sense because I mean, the way he delivered it was fine, but it seemed like it
seemed like it came up before. Right? That's how when I watched it again, it seemed like he had been referencing something as the joke.
And they did cut out a good number of scenes in this movie.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I did not watch the
it didn't seem like
version.
we were part of the joke. He just laughed like it's funny because he's not dead yet, but like that's a weird thing to laugh about.
But the music is so good. You're like, whatever, the line didn't make any sense. Let's check out this song.
And it was like that Hans Zimmer timed it out perfectly for they just edited
They probably just edited it and you're like, this doesn't make sense, but it goes really well. So let's make it the last shot.
Oh, I know. And didn't it just build the perfectly amount of time? They like built it in so the story unfolded just right for when the beats hit in the song.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah. I mean, I guess that's just editing, but it just seemed
it's
like
hard. I mean, especially that's
Yeah.
one thing I kept noticing is
It's
like
like
this is a long movie.
for
It is almost entirely scored, and the score goes really, really well with everything that's going on the
Right.
screen.
I mean, he says he writes to the script. So, I mean, it could just be that he like timed it out.
He's like, all right, this
minutes.
part's like The Rock. This is like when Ed
Yeah.
Harris is like going to
Yeah,
launch the
yeah, yeah.
missiles. And this part
Yeah.
over here, this is like when they get the Pride Rock back at the end.
Right.
So they were going to put this kind of thing right
I
here.
mean, yeah, or you figure they like, he put up the movie and then started fucking shuffling his old songs onto it and was like, boom, boom, boom.
He's like,
boom, that
oh, rip
works,
this
that
one
works.
off for that
Yeah,
part.
and then you know what we
Nice.
can do? We'll just re-record this section. I'll write up a new thing over
Yeah,
this.
we'll
and write
change
up
the key.
right.
We'll change this
Yeah,
note, and
right.
we're good to go.
I can picture it, right? But I mean, I wouldn't be able
It's
to
a long
do
movie,
it.
dude. You got to,
Yeah.
save time somehow.
I wouldn't be able to do it, but I can picture it. Yeah, it did fucking fit perfectly. I just loved that ending scene with the score.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great way to end it. John, what do
Yeah.
you say?
Your turn. Nice glasses.
Pretty much covered everything.
That's all there
I was
is.
going to say. Liked it. Probably don't want to watch it again just because, again, it's kind of painful towards the end. I don't like him. I don't know. He does it well, but it's just like he gets stabbed in the back and has to sit there and painfully fight his way, even though he wins. I think that's why it's like, because I'm like halfway through, I'm like, why don't I watch this again? Oh, that's why.
Oh, right.
Like, yeah.
Wasn't it so satisfying though? Like even with the thing, and even without a weapon, he's just punching Joaquin in the face, and they look like they're really getting hit hard. I'm like, yes, you thought
Yeah.
you were gonna win, but you're gonna lose.
You got what you
fuck.
deserved, you son of a bitch.
Right. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it didn't really hit for him.
I really like that.
Yeah,
That
there
was
was
so
no
satisfying.
reaction
It's
to
still
that
painful to watch.
question.
But anyway, it's still really good. I really thought, again, all the performances are good. Like, it really has that Hollywood epic feel, and certainly that's what Ridley Scott wanted to go for. It sounds like, he really wanted to kind of have that kind of Ben-Hur kind of thing, and sort of try to design shots and stuff like that. And that's why you have the score, and the way it is always kind of there. And the scenery is always kind of there too. So again, it's really good. And again, I mean, whatever an asshole Russell Crowe might be in real life, he's a great actor in this kind of a role. It's just
In a lot of different kinds of roles. I mean, this was right around. He did The Insider right before this. Great movie.
Yeah.
Right before that, he did that noir movie. Fuck, what is it called?
LA Confidential.
LA Confidential. Like he was in a kick right here. He did right after this. He did Master and Commander, Far Side of the World.
Yeah, which was
Oh
good.
wow, Master and Commander was good.
Yeah.
I liked that. Long but good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one was.
he was
good.
on fire, and he's still good.
But this is one of his more perfectly fit.
Well, it
But
fits-
again,
exactly, it
it's
fits
leading.
him.
It's like
It
in
fits
Master
him really
Commander, right? Like he just commands that.
Yeah,
His face helps
attention.
a lot. I think
It does.
It does.
It does.
because like he's not the big.
He,
He's big.
he looks tough.
He looks
doesn't
tough.
he?
He's
Yeah,
not the
looks
biggest
tough.
guy.
Right.
Standing next to the
No,
other,
no.
like the bodybuilder guy, he
Yeah,
looks.
no,
the
no, he's
bodybuilder
tiny.
looks goofy a little bit, right? Like with
Yeah.
the way his face looks. But
Right.
Russell Crowe is
the
like,
guy looks like Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove. So he's just all,
yeah, he does. It's a very triangular head.
but no, you're right. His eyes and expressions in his face just really fit well. He just has a great, like, sort of steely glare.
Yeah.
I'm Russell Crowe, bitch.
You know what little nugget I liked a lot in the writing was the at the point when he says, has anyone ever served in the military? And someone says, I've served with you in wherever it was, right? And I remember thinking to myself, damn, so they're making it seem like they've been with each other now for a while, and he already knows him, didn't say anything, because that's how crazy that life is. Right? That you're stuck in this prison gladiator system. You don't want to talk. You don't talk to anyone. You don't tell them you know them. You don't tell anything because they're next to you and they die. Right?
Right.
That's what I was thinking about that. Like, that's why they put that little nugget in there for us to realize that, like, they're all so scared that they don't even talk to each other when they know each other. Right? Or like when they know of the person, they don't even say anything. And he just kept his mouth. So I thought that was interesting that they like, I found a lot of those little nuggets where they were beefing up the story with some other character on the ancillary characters that like really probably didn't need to be there, but it gives you like this feeling of the situation. I thought that was really, really cool. I might be the only one that caught that, but I might
I'm
be
not
the
sure I
only one
caught that. I
thinks
did really like
Yeah.
the part where most of the interactions from the gladiators happened outside the arena, but the first scene where he's telling everyone to like fight together.
Yeah.
And how
Great
it
scene.
seemed realistic because they didn't automatically listen to him. People were like hesitant to listen to him.
Right.
And those people died. you know, and then it kind of people slowly realized as
like, oh shit, he knows what he's doing.
Massacred. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just seemed cool.
And,
it's like, all right,
and then
this
I
guy
love
might know
how
what
they
he's
kept
talking
saying,
about.
he kept saying stick together, but then he as one.
Yeah.
So once he knew he had their attention and they were going to do it, he switched his command basically, because he could have just kept saying stick together, but that was a request. And then the next one was an order.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, those are those little character arc moments that are great in this, that you don't even really understand until you're dissecting it. But that was one of the better scenes of that whole movie.
It was a good scene.
I mean, there were three gladiator battles, right? There was the first one in the smaller arena. That one was like pretty good. That was way that was shocking because it was way better than the first battle scene in the woods. And then the second one was the chariot one. That one might be like the best one because that was
there was the
incredible.
tiger one.
And then the tiger one with the dude with the metal face, also really awesome.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had to make a metal face and shit. That shit was so creepy looking.
That shot where he what does he stab him in the toe and it cuts to his face and there's blood coming out of the little like metal mouth. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of that scene too, it was cool.
That's what happens when you stab someone in the toe. Blood comes out of their
Sometimes,
mouth.
Well, no, that's from getting beat. It's from getting hit in the face so many times with the like, the steel fucking mask
stuff. You know, you hit the right spot in the foot, and you don't know what's going to happen.
It's all just hollow inside your body, John. You didn't know that? It's just a big hollow area. So if anything gets stabbed, it all comes out of your face.
It just all comes out of your face.
It's just science. Wow. Come on, dude.
I mean, come on.
You're supposed to be
argue there. I can't argue that.
Not really.
But there was another satisfying moment at the end of that last Gladiator scene when like the Jaoquin Pheonix character gives him the thumbs down to kill the guy, and then
and he says that,
and he just doesn't because he's so powerless kind of, but he figured out a way to like take power away from him from his position, which was really satisfying. You're like, fuck you, Joaquin.
It was, but it's like you could like, dude, this guy is Caesar. I'm sure he could like, get enough money or, like, do some negative PR on Maximus, just have him fucking die in the prison cell caught with a goat or whatever. I mean, you could really just arrange whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to, you could like quell this.
But he was too much of a wimp, just like he was before. He never took command. He never led.
He's got people around him. I mean,
they had set him up to like, but nobody around him at that point don't like him.
Yeah, they never liked him.
And they never did. In fact, they allude to that in the earlier part when he says and tells them, "I hope they weren't too expensive to get loyal subjects." Right.
Right. Yeah.
So he had already alluded to that. Nobody's paying attention to him. Right. And he also had to acquiesce to the crowd. He had to acquiesce to his sister. He had to acquiesce to everybody, basically. So it's unlike his character. But I had also thought about those things too. Like, dude, this guy is in charge of why is he even entertaining this?
Yeah, right. You think he could just like kill him?
Yeah, this is a little unbelievable.
Arrange a scandal,
Right, and then he would look at his sister and be like, "Yeah, fuck you, see ya." Right, like. But then again, I would also imagine too, like, wouldn't he have a wife by now if he really was that kind of guy too? I mean, there was a lot of things that didn't really check out of like, if he was in charge, do better, right? But I don't know.
I had some questions.
Okay.
Do I want to get into some questions and see how this goes?
Yes. I have book corner. I got
trivia too.
Things.
Well, no, he's got other things.
I got things on the Wikipedia page because it's a really good Wikipedia page.
Oh, we're going to read from the Wikipedia. It's one of the good ones.
Yeah.
I'll do movie questions first.
Oh, boy.
Questions. Because this isn't like trivia. This is just me asking you guys about the movie.
Okay.
Well, first, did you notice that the guy from Braveheart was in this movie? The guy with the scars all on his face?
Is that the scar?
Yeah.
Oh. He was in Braveheart too, huh?
And this movie wanted Mel Gibson to be the main character. So that would have been weird.
Oh, that's funny. That would have sucked.
It says they were considered.
This movie.
It said he was considered. I don't know.
He was the first pick, but he didn't. He didn't want to do it because he was too old for the character. Is what Mel Gibson did.
No way. Really?
Yeah.
Franzoni expressed interest in Antonio Banderas as the lead role, but Antonio Banderas declined while writing the script.
Can you imagine that guy?
He was the Spaniard after all.
That would have been awesome.
Isn't he even older than Mel Gibson?
He'd have been in his prime.
He's even older than Mel Gibson.
Is he?
I don't know. They're around the same age. They're both kind of old.
They are. Well, Russell's wasn't that young when this was made, was he?
Was he? I thought he was.
I don't know. 30s?
Yeah, 30s. But the Irish guy's name's Tommy Flanagan. I was kind of surprised at the beginning that the war buddy turned on Russell Crowe so fast. Was that surprising to either one of you?
Yeah, Quintus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were buddies. He let him.
Quintus?
He's just going
Would
to
I?
blindly follow the king. They went through war together. Come on.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get
I didn't
his
like that
character.
either. I really didn't like that either.
I didn't like it, and I don't think it made sense. The way they made
Yeah.
his character out before didn't make sense with that scene.
I mean, he was kind of a smarmy bastard, and they did set up that he was arguing with him because he's like, "You're out of range. It's acceptable." Right, and he overruled him.
Yeah.
So it did seem like this
Maybe
guy
he
never
thought
fucking
he could
listens.
be the better general,
Right, and so they didn't really get along. I think he was just kind of do what I tell you to do.
I buy it.
It's fine.
That's good.
But yeah,
Checks out. The horse that Russell Crowe is riding back to his house just dies mid gallop.
yeah.
What's up with that?
He rode one and then he switched over to the
He
next
rode
one.
it to death.
Yeah.
But what? No. Why?
Yeah. Because
'Cause
that's
it's
how
all
hard
he
he
had.
was trying. He was trying so desperately to get to the house that he rode his horse to death.
And can you imagine that? Dude, we're thinking about
John's
riding
so
in our
proud of
cars.
himself when he comes up with
Yeah.
his answers. He's like, all
But
right,
dude,
next.
can you imagine riding a horse? However far that was, we have no idea how far that was. It seemed like it was a long time.
Wouldn't
though.
a horse just I don't know anything about horses. Wouldn't they just
Me neither.
stop before they died? Maybe not.
It
I
seemed
don't
like
know.
it seemed like that
They'd be
one
like, nope,
that one
I'm
scene
not
he
enough.
was barely on the horse, so the horse was barely trotting along at that point, right?
But then he started having flashbacks in the inner cut of his
dun,
family
dun,
being
dun,
burned.
dun, 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 and then Hans Zimmer comes in. Yeah, it's great.
Not complaining
According to
about the scene or the editing.
West
Good stuff.
magazine.
Yeah.
August 8th, 2006, from True West magazine, from Ask the Marshal. We have
Sounds legit.
Yes.
That seems right.
Can a person ride his horse to death? Horses can run fast only for so long, depending on the conditioning and the breed. Quarter horses are bred Arab horses.
Into the
blah,
mic,
blah,
John.
blah. A horse can die of dehydration, heart attack, and exhaustion if not rested periodically.
Oh, wow.
Also, horses like human can develop heart problems. Horses have died in the middle of a race or even afterwards.
Okay,
damn.
even though it's a realistic thing to happen, it was kind of coincidence that it happened right when he
thanks,
got to the
Marshall.
destination.
but and also right
Right.
on that nice bed of sand
Yeah.
that was burned.
just so Russell didn't hurt
wood.
himself when he fell off it. you
Yeah.
know?
Did you ask? Yes.
Yeah, it's more
Did
like
you die
sand
here,
on top
horsey?
of pads.
Would you do business with a guy who grabbed your nuts?
No,
No.
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 Thought
I
about
would
that,
not.
Denny. I would not.
Guarantee the guy's
I
done
couldn't
that
believe
before,
that.
right?
Right.
He seems like a nut grabber.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, that's literally got him by the balls, huh? Jesus.
Right.
I'm going to share some trivia here that I don't necessarily believe, but apparently that guy
Actually grabbed him by the balls.
grabbed him by the nuts. Before he did it, he was like, "Do you consider yourself a method actor?" He said to that other extra, and then grabbed his fucking nuts. The guy's name is Oliver Reed. Was his name?
Can you imagine that?
No, that's why
That
I don't
would be-
believe it. I read it,
Yeah.
but I kind of don't believe
That's
it.
funny.
'cause
They probably just meant they're like forever. We
Yeah.
are telling the story that you actually did that. Yeah.
But Oliver Reed died.
However, it did look kind of
during this filming.
believable,
it did.
right?
Yeah, but how could you act with someone grabbing your nuts? I don't think that's
I don't
possible.
know.
wouldn't. I would just be like,
Yeah, right.
You wouldn't-
Because I don't know, you'd
you
be
wouldn't
surprised. Some of
talk.
these people, this is what they do for a living, so they stay in
I
it.
don't know.
I don't
They
care if
stay
like
in it.
somebody's
Yeah.
grandmother grabs my nuts. I'm punching that person in the face out of instinct.
Dude, they stay in it. You'd be surprised. That's what
I
they
don't
get
know.
paid for.
Maybe. I just
Um,
don't know. So that's written. I don't buy it, but that's
I
written. So
buy
there
it.
you go.
I buy it because
Okay.
it looked like he was grabbing him by the nuts.
It kind of did.
So which one died?
Oliver Reed, the guy who played the nut grabber, the animal and the
Wow,
slavesman.
that older guy?
Yeah.
Damn.
I got some trivia on him. He was a crazy motherfucker.
Well,
Was
they
it?
also had to do. They filled in. They did some special effects and
Yep.
stuff to fill him in.
'Cause they weren't
digital
done with
body
him yet.
double.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, they actually had a $25 million insurance policy for all of his scenes. That if he couldn't film, then the insurance company would pay out $25 million to refilm all those scenes with a different actor. But
Oh wow.
between everybody being so tired and his scenes being so good in Ridley Scott's eyes, they didn't take the payout and they used a body double and digitally inserted his face into the scenes and also rewrote the script a bit. There was supposed to be a fight between him and Russell Crowe, but they rewrote the script to go around it, and yeah,
Wow.
they figured it out.
So did they not take the contract because there was or did they not take the payout because the contract was so specific that the only way it worked was that we give you the
You
money
can see
to
that they would get around
reshoot?
it that
Yes.
way.
So
Yeah.
they had to get out of the contract by saying we're good, we won't take the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Fuck.
paid. Apparently, in Wikipedia said an estimated cost of
crazy.
$3.2 million for the 2 minutes of additional footage where they did the digital reproduction.
Oh, so it's like they found it somewhere else probably, or just had the studio eat it.
Yeah. This movie only went $3 million over budget. Started at $100 million, ended at $103.
That's not
That's
not
pretty
bad,
good.
right?
Pretty
That's
good.
pro. Right?
$3 million is that what it costs too to do?
I
the
guess
Oliver
it was
Reed
just
bit,
that.
so-
Yeah, sounds
That's
like it.
pro shit right there. When you can make your budget, and
Somebody
that, like,
had to
$100
die
million.
to need to do it, right? That's
Right?
good job, Ridley.
shit.
You're a real Hollywood gem.
He is.
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of is though.
No, he is.
Yeah.
It sounded sarcastic, but he is.
Yeah. We really,
Yeah.
he is.
Like
yeah.
it's funny, but like, yo, but he is though.
I thought it was a huge coincidence that the kid of the woman that he loves was the one kid that came to
Who
that
goes
one
up to talk
cage
to the
and
gladiator.
talked to Russell Crowe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are the types of things I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
it
Where I was,
happens.
yeah.
First watch, I'm like, no fucking way.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
way.
And
And
it
also,
was
I was like,
such-
wait, he doesn't recognize this kid? I guess
Yeah.
he's never met the kid.
Dude, the kid's the MacGuffin. That's what I think it is, man.
Yeah.
He's just the kid. He's
The kid
just
was
there
such a
to
MacGuffin.
further the
scene,
plot.
The scene
yeah.
where he was going to kill Jaoquin Pheonix, but then the kid runs in
Yeah.
front of him, like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come
yeah.
on, idiot kid.
I know. Ridiculous.
I thought it was weird, and this must be true because it happened, but like, I didn't really buy that a guy could yell and have the entire Coliseum hear him.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, I don't know. You'd think they'd have
How'd they
something
do it,
like
though?
a
'Cause they had to-
megaphone or something.
But yeah, they didn't have, what do they have? Like a,
You know, like
just
a
big
cone or something that you could yell in.
just
yeah,
a
big old
director's
Yeah.
cone.
Right.
But isn't that
But you're
directional?
like-
but then like all the people around you don't hear
Yeah.
it.
I feel
I don't
like
know. You have
the
tubes going around the
Coliseums
stadium. I
had
don't know.
like sound stuff built, like they had built it with sound in mind to echo more.
Oh,
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
think like if you stood in the right spot, you could like,
If you stood in the right spot and they had the same, I think that if you scream, and they obviously, this guy screamed.
Yeah.
That's probably how they were, and that's what they did every day. And I think you could hear if you like, all the way in the back, maybe not so good, but middle, you're doing all right. That's what I assume, though.
yeah.
So.
There had to have been something, but in the movie, I was
Because
just
that's
like,
how they made it seem, and they had the reverbs like bouncing around, like you would hear echoes a lot.
All right. What do you think? Book corner?
do book corner, and I got Wikipedia trivia.
Cool.
I don't have a ton for book corner.
That's all right.
Wikipedia
so
trivia.
this is
Yay. It sounds so exciting.
Yay.
hooray! Less of that. So I have my Conversations with Filmmakers series book.
Nice.
Nice.
So this is a Ridley Scott interviews. It's edited by Lawrence F. Knopp and Andrea F. Koulas. It's part of the Conversation with Filmmakers series. So I've got a couple of these books. We had one with Billy Wilder.
Is this new to you? Did you use this for another Ridley
No,
Scott
I use
movie?
this for some of his other films
Okay.
too. So I'd kind of like, as I go through, it's like, well, I'll save that for Gladiator.
Nice.
Is this our last Ridley Scott film in the list?
Yeah, I think so.
Is it really?
Well, yeah, that's kind of sad. We should maybe see more of his stuff. Anyway,
You want to
Well,
watch
it's just interesting.
Prometheus, John? Is that what you're getting at?
no.
What other movies are worth watching? Come on.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, now we're on that topic. Let's just take a look. Have we seen all we need to?
Let's
I mean,
see. Who's got a list? What do you got here, John?
I'm pulling up IMDb here. So we got, Gladiator 2 has been announced, by the way.
No.
Yeah.
Please no.
Oh, Napoleon. He's got a Napoleon biopic coming out that's going to be on HBO. That should be interesting.
Huh.
Oh my God.
Taking the reins from Kubrick there.
All right. Oh, was Kubrick trying to do that?
Yeah. He did Full Metal Jacket instead because Waterloo
Matchstick Man.
bombed.
Matchstick Man.
That was pretty good. Yeah.
That was good. Nicolas Cage. Black Hawk Down.
That one is medium.
I've not seen it. I mean, Legend could be fun to watch, as crazy as that one is. Tom Cruise. Weird Tim Curry with horns on his head. Did you ever see Legend?
No.
That is a weird film.
Not selling it, John.
Yeah, I know. Tom Cruise. Mia Sara is the love interest princess. Tim Curry is the devil, basically.
Ooh, that sounds worth
Like
the price of admission right
evil
there.
beast. I'm surprised you've not seen this one. It is a bizarre film.
Yeah, Ridley
Anyway.
Scott only has 4 movies on the list,
That's
which
true.
is still a lot, I guess. The most anyone has is 7. So
That's fair. You're right. Maybe there isn't much more we want to see. I don't know about The Duelist. Did you ever see The Duelist?
No.
Like kind of his first big one.
Oh my God, dude. I can't believe
Based on a story by Joseph Conrad.
Is
Anyway.
Russell Crowe in it?
Gladiator 2.
What?
is
Crow's
Russell
in it?
Crowe in it?
No,
I don't think so.
A very young Russell Crowe. No.
There's no head.
Dude, I mean,
What? Oh, another Ridley Scott trivia. Did you know his brother is also a well-known director?
Tony Scott,
And-
yeah.
Yeah. Did you know what he filmed?
Top
He
Gun.
was the director for Top Gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not Top Gun 2.
Nope, because he's dead. Jumped off a bridge.
Oh. Oh, what?
Yeah, he had like terminal cancer, so instead of like dying in a hospital, he jumped off a bridge.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
okay.
something.
In some weird way, I kind of respect that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
it's a little brutal, but it's
it's a little brutal.
It's quick.
If you know what the end is going to be and you don't want it, go for it.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Oof, man. Okay. So anyway, back to Book Corner after that sort of more entertaining. So this is an interview by Douglas Bankston in 2000 from the May 2000 edition of American Cinematographer. The Gladiator picture came together when Walter Parkes and DreamWorks came and pitched it to Ridley, and Walter showed him this reproduction of this 19th century painting by this artist. And it showed this Roman arena from the level of the sand where the gladiator was holding a weapon, standing over his vanquished foe, and waiting for the emperor to give the thumbs up or thumbs down. And he's like, all right, that's it. That sold it to me. So you got shown this painting. And if you go to the Wikipedia page, you can see a glimpse of the painting too.
And that was Ridley Scott?
Yeah.
Nice.
He said that. That's what sold the film to him, was the painting that Walter brought along.
Do you know what sold it to Russell Crowe?
I don't know. It was Michael Mann.
No. Do you know what information made Crowe sign on?
Yeah, Michael Mann told him. I know that
Michael Mann told him two things.
Yeah.
He told him it was going to be
Ridley
a huge
Scott and it's $100 million.
That's right. Yeah, those two things.
Yeah. So
that's about all you need to know.
Yeah, and he didn't even read the scripts. He was like, "Fuck it, yep, I'm on. Here we go."
Yeah,
of course.
Right, and then he was all grumpy about that because the script wasn't.
Hey man, now I want more money. What the fuck is this?
Yeah,
you see how I delivered that shit line?
I want a writing credit.
Fuck. Yeah.
Scott noted that in this film, it's a little unusual for him. It was the world and the setting that interested him first rather than the story. And he says usually it's the other way around. But for him, what was so appealing was just the setting, the idea of the gladiators, the idea of Rome.
Totally.
And
that's so weird coming from somebody that did Alien and Blade Runner. It's like the world.
Right?
I mean, but Rome is like real,
settings.
right? I mean, it's something else. It's like
it might be.
Historical.
He seems to excel at is the settings and the place, but what draws him to the film might be the characters and the story that he's going to tell in that setting. But
True.
Who knows? People say what they say.
I know.
It doesn't mean it's what they do.
Especially when they live in Hollywood, it seems.
Especially when they're actors and are in movies.
So John Matthieson, or Mathieson, that was the cinematographer. He worked with Ridley's son on Plunkett and McLean, which was his son's first film. And they'd worked together a lot doing rock videos and commercials. And Scott sort of really liked the way that his son's first film looked. And so he went and recruited him, and just sort of said how he joked with his son, this is a reversal. Somebody that you work with is now going to work for me instead of the other way around.
What a dick.
He seemed to be, I don't know if he was a dick about it, but he just think it was funny that, he's like going and getting somebody that was working with his son. He said that one of the things he liked about what John's work was that there's a lot of experimentalism, and he really wanted that in this film. Something that was, the dreamy shots and the quick cuts and stuff like that. That might be kind
the
of
music
where some
video
of that
stuff
comes in. Yeah, which is a little different than his other films. It seems like there's those. This is kind of a different style. It seems to have this quick cuts and whatnot.
And that whole touching the grain stuff, that was a cinematographer's idea too. And that wasn't Russell Crowe's hand. It was his stunt double's hand. So he wasn't even in that shot. Yeah. And it was done as like a throwaway, looking for something cool. And then he also worked with the editor, who was like, they were planning on putting it towards the end. And then they started talking about this whole idea of like bringing it back around. So then it ended up just being the first shot of the movie.
I like the first shot of the movie being so
I love
peaceful,
how shit like
and
that.
You're just wondering where the fuck is this going?
Awesome.
Yeah, it was all dreamy and peaceful, and then you're going to like go into this war.
Yeah, and I love they did a great job of changing the color. Because the color was like so warm and green. And all of a sudden, boom,
so a lot of
blue,
the colors in this film were really
forest.
vibrant. So they shot.
Orange.
I'm going to read some stuff here.
Orange.
Some I may or may not understand. So they shot this with Super 35 with spherical lenses. So Scott, I'm going to quote from Scott here, and maybe TC you'll know more about what he's saying than I understood here. But Scott said, well, if I think about the very epic directors, the one that would spring to mind first would be David Lean and Lawrence of Arabia. Sure.
Oh, Larry Arabia.
Easy one there.
Yeah.
We couldn't really shoot in the standard 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio because we were attempting to tell an epic story. And he said, I don't know why, but psychologically, an epic tends to feel as if it ought to be widescreen with landscapes as opposed to portrait photography.
Totally.
So again, that idea, you want this
wide.
I did notice.
Yeah.
My first note was that my widescreen television isn't wide enough for this movie. I had black bars at the top and bottom of the screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Doesn't happen like that ever, really.
Yeah.
The ratio is fucking
It's wide.
Ready
for the theater only.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said that probably means anamorphic, which would be hard to do within the time constraints. So we knew that if we shot with spherical lenses, it might save on lights because you got a minimum difference of 2 and sometimes 3 stops. So I guess that's what that means. I don't know. Like how they're more sensitive to light or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't have anything to do with like changing out the film, taking time or whatever.
It's an ISO
stops
exposure thing. It's exposure. Yeah.
Yeah, that has something to do with the exposure.
Oh.
But he just said lights mean
It's
time
how
and
much
time
light
means money.
you're letting in, right? So if you let in less light, you have better picture. If you let in more light.
So he wanted to move
He's always thinking about money.
Exposure.
I mean, directors.
He's good at this.
It's weird because directors, he's like a producing director, kind of, right?
In another article, I've got just 1 or 2 more articles here, but there's another really good quote from him about this, which I actually like.
I mean, he does. I don't know if they talk about it, but did they talk about reusing sets in this movie like they did in Blade Runner and Alien and all that stuff? They did that a lot in this movie too.
Yeah.
There are 5 different rooms in this movie that use the same set. They just rearrange the furniture in it.
Yeah. He had some things to say about the tigers. He said tigers don't do what they're told to do. The biggest problem with a tiger is that half the time it just lies on the ground purring or staring at you. He said we had 6 Bengal tigers that were about 10 feet long, weighed 600 pounds, and could move as fast as a small cat once they decided to, but half the time you're poking at the animal saying, come on, do something. Apparently the tigers just kind of sat there a lot.
Come on.
Right?
Yeah, like, hey, would you kill something? What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, doesn't he piss you off too, Russell Crowe? Come on, kill him. What the fuck?
I just got one other article here for reading. This is from an interview with director/adventurer Ridley Scott. This is from written by Elizabeth Weitzman in a February 2001 issue of Interview magazine. She asked him the question, do you blame the studio for the changes that were made in Blade Runner? And Ridley says this. He says, oh, no, there isn't a them and an us as far as I'm concerned. I have enormous respect for the studios. They're paying me to go away and have a jolly good time making my version of what we've agreed upon. Yep. And all creative minds have to deal with the people that are paying the bills. I've never had a problem with that. I've always had respect for the fact that they are entrusting in my hands a certain amount of money to deliver the best piece of material I can.
Right.
And I think that's
that's how it is.
The best
that's
answer you could ever have for
that's
that
how it
question.
really is supposed to be. And these people that don't think it's like that are the assholes.
Reading
no one likes to work with.
Earlier interviews on Blade Runner, I don't know if we were just inserting that he was salty about what the studios did or didn't do or with Alien. Maybe we were he might express regret or he would have liked to do something, but maybe even then he's not that pissed about it because he seems to understand this is a business and he's kind of
you never know with these
it.
kind of rumor stories.
These people always flip back on their words depending on when and who they're talking to. 100%.
Well, that too. 100%.
The original theatrical ending of Blade Runner is not what he wanted.
Yeah,
they had to take footage from another movie to do it. He didn't want to do that.
As long as the ecosystem it's going both, for both people and both parties, everything's fine. But as soon as someone fucks up, there's an issue. Doesn't matter what side it is.
It also wasn't clear if he was really mad about it or not. He just he didn't get what he wanted, but he's still like
it didn't do
true.
Well,
we could be projecting our own.
I thought he was.
It's not his fault. Like his name's on the front of it, and the studio fucked it up, and the movie didn't make money. Right, and that's going to affect his entire career in life.
Here he's saying he doesn't blame them.
But he's full of shit.
I think he's more talking about.
He's got a lot of
I think he's talking about philosophically. I don't think he's talking about
He's appreciating that over and over again he gets to go and get a lot.
People keep giving him $100 million.
Right, they're giving him money to go and play, and have a good time. To him, at least, it seems like he's having a lot of fun.
Like someone's fronting you the drugs, man. Right. Come on, like you got to be nice to that person.
I think that is a good perspective.
Ass.
Even the studio might turn around and not do what you want with them. It's still an agreement between the two of you,
right? And then you have to, as long as you're meeting those agreements,
right?
It should be fine,
right? So if you acknowledge that,
So when they fuck it up and they screw up the fucking movie. That's an exception, and that's fucking fine to be mad at.
A little bit there, Ridley. Probably.
If you don't get final cut in the contract, you really can never be mad, right?
Right.
That's
like, what should you expect?
That's a good point. Yeah.
But anyway, so the final question on the interview is, do you look at directing itself as an adventure? Weitzman asks him, and Ridley says, oh, totally. You have no idea how lucky I consider myself. We're going off and creating other worlds in a way. We're really the last explorers.
Oh, come on.
It's kind of neat. I know.
What about fucking astronauts?
I know, right? We have astronauts. Right?
I mean,
I still like that. What comes
reminds me of the
that,
Vietnam statement. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're so far up your own ass, you have no clue about the rest of the world. I feel like sometimes though too. I feel like with these people, they're always saying that shit with a wink and a nod as a joke, and you know what I mean. And then they put it in.
I like that he's enjoying what he's doing, though. That he's just happy. He feels like he's very lucky to go and do this and create worlds, and that's what he is very good at doing. Like in these films that we've seen, the idea of creating a world seems to be like kind of his specialty. When we like Alien and Blade Runner, that's what makes those movies so great. But anyway. That's all I got from Book Corner. I can do a little Wikipedia trivia, or we can take a break from.
Do you want me to do the commentary and you can supplement with whatever's left in the Wikipedia?
Well, you do that because you might cover a lot of it anyway.
Yeah. So this commentary track was unfortunately not the best, even though it sounds on paper like it might be good. It's the director Ridley Scott, the editor Pietro Scalia, and the cinematographer John Mathieson, or however you say it.
Yeah.
It wasn't too informative, which is too bad.
That sucks.
There was another commentary track with Ridley Scott and Russell Crowe, but it was on the extended version, and I didn't do that one. But anyway, there was some good information, so I'll share some of it. All of the war machines they built for the first battle scene, those were all real. All the pots were real, and all the they had like 50,000 arrows, but sometimes when they showed them flying through the air, they were CG. But all the times they were exploding on the trees and stuff like that, that was all real, and them sitting on the whatever, catapults, trebuchets,
50,000, huh?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
They had 10,000 costumes made throughout the movie for all the extras.
Wow.
So it's a lot, I think. I don't know. It seems like a lot of like fake leather or whatever.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of material.
Jaoquin Pheonix was the first choice for Commodus. I guess Ridley Scott really wanted him to be in there.
That was a good choice.
The snow during the first battle scene was real. And like I said before, they filmed that in one day in sequence and it stopped snowing. So they had to, during the large battle scene, there was snow at the end, but then it cuts to less people. So it was a different shoot, like a different day of the shoot with less, extras and stuff, but they wanted the continuity there. So they brought fake snow that day to continue the snow. So they had to react to that there.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Do you guys like trivia like this? Everything they made in the film was custom. Is that assumed? He made it seem like it was a big deal. But that seems like it's assumed.
I don't know. Do they just go to a warehouse and get the, just like you're shopping for a Halloween costume normally?
Yeah, all studios have like huge prop storage areas.
I wouldn't say all, but
the big ones. They'll have props.
I know.
You'd be surprised.
Oh, really?
There's
he was talking about how you can go, to a vendor.
Vendors.
Maybe. Yeah. But for this one, I guess they handmade everything.
I mean, that's pretty awesome.
And none of it was like real. Like they made everything. Like every set you saw was
that's
like
why
just
it looked so good.
Yeah.
I mean, right? Because they made it all to match.
Yeah.
So the fucking uniforms actually looked like uniforms that all match, and they didn't have to it's awesome.
It's crazy to think like the scenes with the older king towards the beginning before he gets strangled. Like his room is full of like expensive looking tapestries and rugs and fucking gold things, and there's just shit all over the place.
Yeah.
Somebody made that. Good job, art department.
I mean, some of it's cheap material, obviously. It doesn't have to be. It's just, doesn't have to be functional. It just has to look good.
Yeah. So they built a somewhat replica-sized Colosseum on an island off the coast of the tip of the boot of Italy.
Oh, wow.
I forget what the name of the island is, but
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. And they built it. It was 56 feet high. So anytime you see a shot where they're fighting in the Colosseum, there's a lot of shots, if you know exactly how high it is, where they framed it so they wouldn't have to extend it with CG. So like a lot of the shots in the Colosseum are all real, but anytime you get the audience, that's all CG above 56 feet off the ground inside the Colosseum.
You'd never notice.
It looks so fucking real. It's incredible. Yeah. This movie is so old. It's like the best CG ever. Like that
was a very good idea of dealing with it, right? Because you trick your eyes to being down towards the ground, right? So we're all looking down, and then you can hide all this shit up above. I mean, that's pro shit right there.
There were scenes that they pointed out that really reminded me of like The Wizard of Oz and Ben-Hur, I think it was, where they would do like these forced perspective shots where they did matte painted backgrounds back in the day, where like they would animate maybe the background and then black out part of the camera with a matte painting and then actually film people walking down like a pathway on horses and stuff. Do you remember that really long shot in Ben-Hur where there was like 10,000 people standing outside and there's somebody close to the foreground riding a horse, and it just looks kind of real.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
So that they do the same thing all the time in this movie, but they do it with CG instead of matte paintings.
Huh.
And I think they still do that all the time.
Set extensions and shit.
Set extensions, yeah.
Yeah.
But for some reason in this movie, it just looks all the really
good.
far, huge shots of like Rome. I couldn't tell what was CG. Like I was trying to figure it out. I was like, this can't be real. Like this doesn't exist.
If you're not looking for it, you don't even care to notice.
I was looking for it, and I couldn't tell what it was.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I was like, this doesn't exist. The Colosseum is now completely like disheveled, and this is like a perfectly new Colosseum, and it looks real. Like, what is real?
I mean,
about
there's
this?
that one shot with the fake birds that was like awful.
Oh, yeah. But all the architecture stuff and the extras, like they actually had 3,000 extras, and they filmed them cheering and doing different stuff, and they used computer programs to replicate those 3,000 actors throughout the Colosseum. So like all the movements are real CG, but it's like actual people.
Because they layered them and your eyes don't catch it. Oh, that's a good idea. That's nice. I mean, that was a lot for 2000.
It was a lot.
Oh.
Yeah.
They actually built also the first arena, the smaller arena, in a town in Morocco. So they found that village existed, but then they built this. It's a 30,000 seat arena.
I mean, that's fucking crazy. Like, you just show up to a place that you don't live in. You're like, hey, I'm going to build this fucking thing right now. Yeah, don't worry. We're going to shoot a movie and then bye.
And then speaking of like taking advantage of the locals in Apocalypse Now, they offered everybody, there were like tribes all around. They just said free lunch to all these people, and they all came and worked for free.
Oh, nice.
For lunch. So yay, cheaper in other countries.
I mean,
that's right.
You want to know how to come in at budget?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. A couple of bologna sandwiches for everyone. There you go.
Yeah, right. Free lunch, guys. All right. Yep. Pick up those heavy things over there, please, and move them to the left. Oh, boy.
18-week shoot.
Oh, wow.
That's long for like a normal
Seems
movie,
long,
but that's not too long for this kind of movie, I guess.
Actually, not. Yeah. No, the more I just thought about like how much went on in that 18, that's a pretty decent. They went fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those scenes and all that setting. And I guess that doesn't really count all the creation of all the material and all that. That's probably pre-prod, right? So
yeah, the
principal photography.
That costs a lot of money by itself.
I bet. Yeah.
The eyebrows on the guy, the announcer, real eyebrows.
They were
his real eyebrows. Yep.
No.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. When I saw that guy, I just wrote the note, Mr. Eyebrows. All right.
Yeah.
Got him.
That guy's eyebrows were real. I thought they
painted to them though.
I thought
he dyed them and he pointed them out, but they were like they were attached to his head.
I thought he painted them on or some shit. That's crazy.
He has got very long eyebrows.
Interesting.
That Cobra they were playing that game with was real and fully loaded. That's what they said.
What a strange game to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like you either win or you die. That doesn't sound fun.
It's like a Russian roulette sort of thing, but with a snake.
Fuck that.
And it's always got venom, so it's worse. Like I don't get it. Like this. You want to play the snake game?
Yeah,
sure.
Who wants to play?
Where'd everyone go? I used to have friends that wanted to play this game.
They don't play the snake game. They're all dead because it's the fucking snake game.
Crow got beat up pretty good during the filming of this movie. The scratches towards the beginning, he apparently like a horse backed him into a bush and it cut up his face and stuff, and he had to get stitches. So like one of the shots in this movie had like scratches all over his face, and that was from the horse pushing him into a bush. He broke some bones. He like tore some tendons.
Damn.
And like during one of the sword fight scenes, he sword fight. He got hit in the hand with a like a fake sword, but it hurt, and he didn't have feeling in two of his fingers for 2 months afterwards. That sucks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Now, all that for how much they pay him?
Enough, and then he got an Oscar. It's pretty good.
Yeah, he did
more movies and then more money, and then
There was a shot right when Russel Crowe's character dies or like falls on the ground. It cuts to the crowd being shocked. And there's a guy in the crowd. You can see maybe 1,000 people in the shot. There's one guy that kind of like rubs his head and everyone else is completely still. And Ridley Scott got fucking livid when he watched that shot because when they were editing it, He was like, oh, I remember this guy. Yeah. He's like, I told everyone to stand still. The guy couldn't fucking not scratch his head. I wanted to punch him in the face. I considered digitally removing that guy. He just like went off on it for like 2 minutes.
He was just so mad. That was just one of those things. Yeah. Like, who the fuck are you? You ruined this entire fucking thing.
He asked the question. Definitely. He's like, can we just digitally remove that guy? They're like, Ridley, no one's going to notice. And he's like, no, digitally remove him.
It's pissing me off. I'll notice forever. Fuck that guy.
And he does. And he's mad.
Yeah. That's funny. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
And apparently, so I couldn't understand what he said for the last shot when it pans up to like Rome. Yeah. A lot of it is real. So like all the Colosseum is CG, but once it goes to like the city, he said on the left was Opet and Brumos, and on the right was Goude, and the sky was from France, and then the center of it was a painting. I don't know what those other countries are, but apparently they're like real landscape shots they're like composite film shots of other real places mixed with a painting, mixed with CG. Like it's pretty weird.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
There's like
I rewound it like 4 times
cool
trying to figure out what he was actually saying in terms of like where it was. Is Opet an area?
Oh.
Opet country?
Opet is a Turkish petroleum company.
No, probably not.
Is that a building that he was referring to or an area?
An area.
Okay.
I think. He said Opet, Brumos, and Goude.
Oh, I think it's Turkey.
But anyway, this guy, Oliver Reed, was a huge alcoholic.
You know who one of his drinking buddies was?
No.
Who?
Keith Moon.
Oh, wow. That's a hell of a drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Damn. Guy must have been old, huh? Didn't Keith die in like the 70s?
Yeah.
But yeah, he apparently didn't get...
Wait, did who die in the 70s?
Keith Moon.
Oh.
So this guy used to be a big actor back in like the 60s. He was in Oliver Twist, or Oliver, I guess.
The film adaptation.
The film. But he had a reputation for being like a huge alcoholic and hard to work with. So he was brought in as, somebody said like, you can't be as big of an alcoholic as everyone says you are. So get to the script read and do it. So he ended up getting the role, but he hated Russel Crowe. I don't exactly know why. It just sounds like he was a hard to work with dude.
Apparently Russell Crowe didn't like him either.
Yeah. And so Russell Crowe and Richard Harris were good buddies, but they both hated this Oliver Reed guy. And he died with like a couple weeks left to shoot. And we already talked about what happened then. Richard Harris also died very shortly after the making of this movie. He was Dumbledore in the first 2 Harry Potter movies. Yep. And he ended up dying. That was only like 3 years after the filming of this movie. But with Jaoquin Pheonix, Richard Harris and Russell Crowe, he was so nervous that they got together and they got him drunk to like relax him, to like get him to be buddies with them. All right. Anything left on Wikipedia there, John?
Let's see. So in terms of the script criticism quote, William Nicholson was brought in when there were problems with the script. The actors, they were trying to make Maximus a more sensitive character, so they brought him in while filming was going on. And Nicholson reworked Maximus' friendship with Juba and developed the afterlife thread in the film. So that was developed as they were filming. And Crowe did question every aspect of the evolving script and was strode off set when he did not get answers. And according to Nicholson, Crowe reportedly told him that his, quote, lines are garbage, but I'm the greatest actor in the world and I can make even garbage sound good.
He's right.
What an ass.
He's right.
Yeah, but he's not wrong. Honestly.
Yeah, he was right.
He's not the greatest actor in the world, but he can make some lines sound good.
To a murdered wife.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B there.
Yeah.
I didn't think that line was that bad. Maybe it was because of the way he said it. I thought it was pretty good.
Exactly. Because he's the greatest actor in the world, right? Yeah. I mean, the film's loosely based on real events, but it's very loosely done. It's like you really... One thing that they didn't include because it was too unbelievable was that in an early version of the script, gladiators would have been carrying out product endorsements in the arena, and that would have been historically accurate, but they thought that audience would think that is just too weird.
Coke Zero advertisements all over the place.
Yeah, like, I don't know what sort of product. This is brought to you by Bob's Olive Oil. Best olive oil in the world. That's what I use to, shine up my muscles. I don't know. But so that would have been kind of funny to see what that had to say. They had historical advisors, at least one resigned due to the sort of changes that they made. They were just making them, based on what they thought would make the story better too. it's just there's some poetic license to be had there. Like what the other historian or the historical consultant that was on there was just like saying, well, there's give and take there. So Marcus Aurelius in real life was not murdered by his son Commodus. He died from the plague.
Oh, is that why they brought it up in the movie?
That swept over the Roman Empire during his reign. There's no indication that Marcus Aurelius wished to return the empire to a republican form of government as depicted in the film. And he shared the rule of the empire with Commodus for 3 years before his own death, and Commodus then ruled alone from that point until his death. Marcus was depicted as defeating the barbarians, but in reality, the war was still ongoing when Aurelius died. Commodus secured peace by a treaty with 2 Germanic tribes allied against Rome. So Maximus is fictional, although he resembles like historical figures Narcissus, who is Commodius, a real-life murderer, and the character's name in the first draft of the screenplay. Also, Spartacus has some similarities, and some other ones. Commodius did engage in show combat in the Colosseum, but he was not killed in the arena. He was strangled in his bath by the wrestler Narcissus. But Commodius reigned for over 12 years. Let's see. There's other sort of facts that go along. I think one of the things too is like the death of Commodus wasn't this idea like, oh, that makes Rome better now. It was more like after Commodus died, things got much worse for Rome. It wasn't like Rome was going to be this great republic again. Anyway, there's other stuff like that, but yeah, it's like, so yeah, in real life, the death of Commodus did not result in peace for Rome, nor a return to the Roman Republic. Rather, it ushered in a chaotic and bloody power struggle. And there's lots of other things, but those
were
are
in
mostly
the years of
film.
178 and 182, and like it's pretty crazy, right?
There's not a historical accuracy in that sense of the characters but I don't feel like the film's trying really hard to make it seem like this is true to life.
Yeah,
especially when compared to Braveheart specifically.
Well, yeah, that specifically.
Well, because the story is all about some guy going in like prison, right? So
I did send you the link of that in the chat. That there's the image of that. You can see this on Wikipedia too, but there's the recreation of the painting.
Yeah, and you can see the thumbs are down, right? So like,
they're like,
that's down. Let's finish it with. Yeah, anyway. It sounds like they. I was just reading some other website about how was he on set and. It doesn't sound like it was
Russel?
fair. Yeah, it's not fair to blame most of it on him. There was a lot of problems on set, it sounds like, with people. And the thing with the script, there was something with the script, and they didn't want to send him the script because it wasn't done. It wasn't like they didn't want to send it because he wasn't.
Yeah, he was annoyed because he's like, I don't even know I don't have anything to learn.
And they're like, if we send it to you now, you're not going to react to it. That was the quote. So it's like, fuck, we'll leave it be.
I poking around Wikipedia here. Connie Nielsen was married to Lars Ulrich for 8 years.
Huh?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
She was around for the Napster
to 2012. And they had a kid together.
Yeah, and then they divorced because of Napster probably too. She's like, I want to download music.
That's right. He caught her ripping off his music.
Yeah, he's in there. She's got NSYNC CDs.
I haven't thought about that in so long.
She's got Backstreet Boys CDs firing off in the back, and he's pissed.
Oh, man.
Not only is it Backstreet Boys, but it's fucking Napster.
It's Napster.
Yeah.
How could you betray me? Anyway, that's all I got.
Wow.
Nice. All right.
What a movie.
Yeah, it's a fun film.
So would you put it in the top 250?
Yes.
I don't know.
What?
I think yes. Yeah.
Always got to keep us on the edge of our seats there, John.
Yeah, I know. I'm
going
one
yes.
for the suspense.
Yeah, this movie,
the list. Sometimes it makes the film stick.
This movie gives me hope that TC might like Lord of the Rings.
We'll see.
There's a lot of Lord of the Rings.
I will, I'm going to approach it with an open mind.
I'm sure there are going to be things you will appreciate about it.
Yes. I will approach it with an open mind and we will see.
Yep.
All right.
That's going to be like a 2-month extravaganza for us.
I actually kind of like those though.
Yeah.
Those are fun months.
So
what are we doing
there are
next?
5 Mondays in October. So that throws a wrench in the cogs of what I was thinking of doing. My plan before starting this was to kick off the Halloween stuff, but I think we should put the Halloween, because like if we do Halloween on the later ones, then the 4th episode will come out on Halloween Day.
Okay.
So I think that'll be good. And also the physical copy of Nope comes out the 25th. So we could figure out how to do that week. So there's a documentary coming with it and a bunch of special features and stuff. And if we release it on Halloween, I think that would be good.
So what's the plan then?
So the plan is to keep with the list for next week.
Okay, what's our next on the list?
Yeah, so next week we stay to the list. This is like the first time we've done 2 in a row,
Spartacus.
let alone 3 in a row.
All right, so we're going back to the list.
Not Spartacus?
Oh, that's a good idea, John.
Is that on the list?
No,
but it's Stanley Kubrick and it's Robin.
Yeah,
and it fits this thing, and then we're doing another. I could get down with that.
I think it might be fun to make a comparison between the films.
Okay,
it'll be 5 bonuses in a row, but that's okay. There's no rules.
Not in a row. I mean, we have. Oh, you mean because we're doing all the Halloween stuff? Yeah. Well, there's no rules, but I think I kind of want to go back to another Kubrick film. So
I agree.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to put it right after the one we just watched. So let's do it.
Okay. Sweet, good idea.
All right. Well, hell yeah, John. That's Spartacus.
That's what we'll do, and then we'll get to Whiplash, which is the next one on the list after Halloween.
That one's. Have you seen that?
I have. Yeah.
Okay. You've seen it, Denny, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Inaccurate drumming. Boo. Just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
That'll be an interesting one.
All right. Spartacus.
All right.
All right, guys.
Back to next week.